Hey everybody, in today's broadcast, we're going to talk with Mega Stacker, Precious Metal Stacker. Louie's been a friend of the channel from very early on, so it was a great pleasure for me to interview him today for this broadcast. We talk about silver stacking fever, fiat currency, fakery, the future of metals, the recent price action in silver, also safety and security regarding being a metal stacker, and a whole lot more. All right, now, quick note before we play the interview. This is my first interview for the channel. So if I get good feedback on this, I'll try to do more of these types of things where we have interviews and have discussions with certain people. So please give it a thumbs up if you like what we talked about today. And that would encourage me to do more, including possibly bringing Louie back for a future interview. Hope you enjoy. Now, he uploads to YouTube several times a week. So go check out his channel here on YouTube, link down below. Thank you, Bulls and Bears, for watching. Okay, we are live. Hey, Louie, thanks for joining me.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. I thought I'd start off with a shot of my favorite guitar with some silver on top. And
Beautiful,
let me open up my screen now.
beautiful,
Thank you for
beautiful.
inviting me, Jason. I'm really glad to be on the channel. I've loved it since you were brand new.
My pleasure, and likewise. And there's so many things I want to ask you, but feel free to ask me, anything as questions may arise here. But first of all, let's talk about, you're obviously a silver stacker, and you've chosen, kind of like myself, to remain a bit anonymous, even more anonymous than myself, right? I'm in the glasses all the time and the hat. Can you just explain that to maybe people that haven't heard that yet, or maybe people that are going to be new to you?
Well, I think safety is first, right? You've got yourself, you've got your family. And if people know that you are storing large amounts of silver or gold, you become a target. And so I always recommend everyone stay completely anonymous. And that goes for not really telling your friends, not broadcasting that among your family, because what starts out as a small hobby, a few $100 quickly grows into a few thousand and then possibly a lot more. And you don't want
Absolutely.
people knocking on your door in the middle of the night. No matter how well you're armed, right? You
Exactly,
don't
right.
choose to have that.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I do show my face every now and then. I'll probably do it for this one here. I won't block it out, before I upload it. But same thing. Security, also coworkers, and if someone disagrees with you for whatever reason, they can try to come after you. Just all kinds of reasons, right? So I appreciate you being here. Now, let's talk about your channel and my channel. First, your channel. Now, you've chosen to stay in the silver stacking, let's say, community, or focus on silver. And from what I've heard, I think I heard it from your channel, it's a smaller community. And if I'm not mistaken, did you say 20,000 stackers? Did I remember that correctly?
Well, I think it's been growing lately. I've noticed some channels growing up to 30,000, 40,000. And those are not all the same people. I think what happens is subscribers find the channel that resonates with them, and they kind of go all in on that one channel. And
Yeah.
often they have live streams and giveaways and silver
Well, I
pouring.
was I was actually talking about the number of people that actually stack silver, not subscribers.
Well, I don't know how many
Okay.
people stack silver. All I know is the YouTube community. There is a Reddit community. There's an Instagram community. Um, so I couldn't tell you how many individuals stack it, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, and I heard the number somewhere 20,000, and maybe that was somebody just estimating. And I was thinking, okay, it's going to be growing now because the silver's getting more in the spotlight, obviously, with the price moves and all the news. But it does seem to be kind of a small community, and it seems like when I talk about certain topics, including stacking, that I don't get as many views. And I'm not sure if that's because the algorithms or if it's just a smaller community that few people choose to tune in. You know what I mean? When they see that topic.
Yeah, I think I've heard something like less than 2% of the US population stacks silver or gold. But the Wall Street Silver, the new Reddit community, I think they're over 40,000 already. And most of those are new people. So I would bet there's at least 100,000 people, I think, on social media
Mhm.
looking to share their experience.
Okay. Now let's go back, and I appreciate that information. Let's go back to when you first learned about our monetary system, or what might have ignited this or sparked your interest in stacking and knowing about the monetary system and the fiat system that we're in right now.
Right. Well, I remember when I was probably younger than you, sitting in gas lines. That was during the Jimmy Carter, era when we had inflation running wild, a thing called stagflation. And, parents and grandparents can thank that for escalating the price of their homes and all other assets. But I got a firsthand knowledge of what inflation can do when there's poor management of the economy. And then we saw the Reagan era coming after that, and they got a hold of that, and then the economy thrived and inflation was beat down. But I never forgot what it was like when they lost control,
Right.
and that's what I have been predicting for some time now, ever since they started monetizing the debt, which just means that they print more dollars and put those into
Yeah.
circulation, devaluing the value of your dollar, which basically is inflation.
Right.
So I've been predicting that and planning for that for, oh gosh, 10, 12, 14 years now.
Hmm. And do you remember when you first learned that money can just be created in infinite amounts?
Well, yeah, I never really thought we would go there, but we are off the we're off the track completely in terms of the Constitution, in terms of the budget. We don't even try to balance the budget
Exactly.
anymore. We have no limit on the debt ceiling, and we are beginning now to finance the interest on that debt with more debt.
Yeah.
So
It's
anybody who studied math knows that that graph goes straight up eventually.
it's completely insane, right? So here's when I first learned about it, and I was probably less than 10 years old. And when I say learn about it, I mean completely detached from any standard, like the gold standard, which in 1971 we came off of that. A friend of the family asked me who I thought the richest person in the world was, and I think I said some athlete or something like that, maybe Barry Sanders or somebody like that. And of course, that was nowhere near the right answer. And he pulled out a bill. I don't know if it was a one or five. And he said, "No, these people right here." I'm like, "What do you mean? Who are these people?" And he said, "Well, these are the people that print this up." I'm like, "Well, who are they?" And he's like, "Well, nobody knows." Now, as far as stacking, I've watched some of your videos, and I remember you being on the street driving around saying, "Hey, silver's in the $14 range. I'm going here. I'm going there." What are your favorite places to get it, or is it the online bullion dealers?
I have purchased the vast majority of my silver and gold from online dealers, but I also have a relationship with my local coin store, and because I was pouring silver, making poured silver art at one point, I used to go in there frequently and clean out his junk bin,
Mm.
and that proved to be a really a really profitable thing.
Yeah.
So the LCS for junk and low quality, low premium silver, and then online for everything else.
Okay. Okay. So that's got to be pretty exciting finding what you just described there. Now, do you have any stories where you didn't expect to find silver, like maybe in an attic or at a flea market, and it was kind of a big find or big surprise that you didn't expect that you weren't actually looking for, maybe?
Silver, let's say at the LCS, for $1 over spot, which is what he sold it to me for, coming home and finding it was actually quite rare because local coin stores don't generally dabble in the collector market.
Okay.
And so, therefore, when they get something that's older, a vintage bar, for example, they don't always know its value. They just know they need to move it, right? So
Hmm.
when you buy something for 16, $17 and then come home and find it's worth 30, 35, that's the most exciting parts.
Okay, absolutely. Now, I have some other things I want to get into that some of maybe your audience are going to say, "Hey, JJ, you didn't know that? Come on, man." But I just want to put this out there because I think a lot of my community may not be totally familiar with how this works. So when silver is poured, and I know you do pouring, When you go to sell it or maybe barter it, how does the purchaser know that it's legit? Like if it's not stamped, if it's just self poured, maybe. How do you convince somebody or show them? Is test kit maybe acid kit?
Well, that would be that would be depressing for a well-known silver pourer to create a piece of silver art like this skull here, for example. So what you want to do, and there is a hallmark, a maker's mark on every good piece of poured silver. You don't want to buy poured silver that doesn't have a known artist associated, and it'll be stamped 999 silver.
Hmm.
You'll have a maker's mark on it. The weight will usually be on it, but I would never buy something like that if I didn't know the artist and he didn't or she didn't have, hundreds and hundreds of pours to their name.
Hmm.
Here's another one.
Oh, beautiful.
Now
Okay.
this is not stuff I recommend for new silvers, new stackers, but once you've been into it for 5 or 10 years, you like to spice up your stack a little bit, and you dabble over into the collector market, right? And that's what
Hmm.
I also do, and a lot of my videos are about that. But for the most part, new stackers are just going to want well-known 10-ounce bars, 1-ounce bars, or they're going to want American Silver Eagles. They come in these little tubes here. They actually
Hmm.
come in monster boxes of 500 for really serious and well-heeled stackers. The other thing that new stackers often like is constitutional silver. Those are the old silver quarters and dimes, and that is a nice way to put away recognizable silver. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't really buy anything that I feel I need to test, acid test, drill,
Hmm.
etc. These are mercury dimes, one of my favorite stacking vehicles. Preppers tend to like constitutional silver more.
Hmm. Because if I'm not mistaken, the preppers look at bartering as the possibility because they're expecting, chaos to hit at some point with food shortages, and they want to be able to barter. So that would be the reason for the smaller denominations, right?
Right. They want, and you broke up a little bit on me there, but they want the most recognizable silver that you can find, and that is probably junk silver. There are hundreds of millions of American Silver Eagles out there, so people probably recognize those as well. They look like the American Silver Eagle is probably the most recognized one
Beautiful.
ounce silver coin in the
Hmm.
world. It is coinage. You can often buy and sell those at the LCS with no tax implication.
Hmm.
Um, so American Silver Eagles and Constitutional are good. But once you get into it and you have your bearings, 10-ounce bars are probably the easiest thing to stack. You'll notice those that are looking for silver now and can't find it. And there absolutely is a silver squeeze going on because all the sources that I follow are running low. You'll find the 10-ounce bars are in short supply. They may have a few kinds, but they won't have the vast variety they used to have.
Okay. I've watched some of your videos where you look for deals and anywhere from eBay to online bullion dealers and local coin shops. So it's pretty cool. Now, how would you describe I guess you'd call it the fever for stacking, right? Like you see people that collect things and sometimes they go crazy. Like I knew a guy who had a whole room full of baseball cards, right? When I was younger, and this guy had stacks of comic books, and it can be the same way with silver. Am I correct?
Oh, it sure can. And, I am not a purist when it comes to silver. I actually recommend diversifying. And you can see, I collect guitars. I have my share of comic books, silver and gold and platinum. And for those that are, really stout of heart, you might have some crypto. But I think the wider you can cast your net, the better. And I always say try to keep it under 10% of your total net worth. So if you're going out there, spending everything you have just on silver, let's say you buy a giant box of American Silver Eagles at $40 a coin, and you're all in. Well, then you have no more moves.
Right.
then you're stuck. So
Yeah.
when you have multiple assets, you can trade them off against each other. For example, right now, gold is pretty cheap compared to silver, as indicated by the gold to silver ratio. I think silver is going higher, and I think that gold to silver ratio will drop. But some people are trading out their silver. I have recently watched videos where 2021 Silver Eagles are being traded for gold at a rate of 50 to 1 because the Silver Eagle's in really high demand right now.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Okay, that's what I try to do too. Because if you're all in, and then when the price corrects on whatever it is, maybe stocks, maybe whatever, then you have no purchasing power, right? So that's what I try to put out there on my channel. Also, stacking fever. I think I started to get it right in about the $17 range when silver started going up. But didn't it get down to about $14? Was that correct? Here in the past few years?
Yeah, yeah, right. The recent drop took spot price all the way down to 12, as you may know, but there was no silver available at 12 or 14 or $15. So that was somewhat of an artificial drop. But going back a couple of years, we were in the 14s, and I bought a lot of silver back then
Mm,
because both. I mean, the perfect opportunity is when spot is low and unloved, and when premiums are also low. So a lot of the silver eagles I have were purchased, well under $20.
mhm. So basically, back the truck up when it's low. Now, when would you consider possibly starting to sell? Is there a price point, or are you looking for a certain parabolic chart action where you're going to start taking some off the table?
Yes, but of course, realize what you're trading it for. You're trading it for paper, which once they start to lose control of the dollar, you may not want to hold on to that paper for very long. So, I am a believer in gold, and I try to keep about half of my stack in gold. Let me just pull out a couple pieces. I just bought this the other day. So my plan, there it is. This is a gold Canadian maple leaf, half ounce.
Nice.
Just an example of, some basic recognizable gold. My plan is to convert to gold, or real estate, if I wanted to buy some additional property.
Mhm.
But generally, when silver makes its big move, I'll be trading out some of it, maybe half of it for gold. I would never get rid of all of it because, if silver is $50 today, you have to wonder if it will be $150 today and then $15,000 tomorrow in a scenario where the dollar is plummeting and a new, financial system is being designed,
Right.
as in a Weimar Germany or something like that. That's a low probability, but if you have gotten rid of all of your silver at $50 and then the dollar collapses, you'll be left with, just dollars.
Absolutely. Now, that's one of the biggest questions that I see when I'm speaking about silver. People say, well, you've got to convert it to fiat because you can't buy anything, buy a home, for example, without fiat. But it seems to me, and I get criticism a little bit when I say this, that at some point we're going to have to go back to sound money. Now, that may be after a complete devastating collapse where we're Mad Max. Do you have any visions or theories on how soon or how it may never happen?
I think we have to go back to different money, and I can't predict what that will be, but I would not underestimate how underhanded our government could be in whatever they set up next. And I fully expect stackers, and I respect the stacking community, but I fully expect the government to start to villainize us, which has happened in the past. I'm not saying there's going to be confiscation, but I think if you don't get your stack in order here pretty soon, plan to be villainized, plan to be taxed, plan to see them do things like they did to the Hunt brothers. Many people know the Hunt brothers, but they don't know that that $50 top in silver was brought about by them changing leverage ratios on contracts. So, which they did recently to the silver squeeze. When it got up to around $30, they changed the leverage ratios, that old trick.
Okay.
So they're going to throw everything they can at us. And whatever the new system is, no, I don't actually believe it'll be based on silver or gold. I believe all I'm worried about, all I can control is what I have in my possession. And I do believe that silver and gold will be really, really super valuable. But what the world does and what the government does, I couldn't say. Who could say?
Exactly.
Make
Yeah.
sense. And
People. Yeah. People are
would
always
Ron
asking
Paul for
for.
president?
People are always asking for predictions and timelines, and that's the thing I'm trying to get across on my channel is you cannot predict timing on a manipulated market, right? If it was a free market, then you might be able to do that a little bit better. Is that how you feel also?
Yeah, absolutely. It is not a free market. They are, when they talk about silver manipulation and gold too, I think, recognize that big banks don't get to do stuff like that without repercussions unless somebody in Washington says they like it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
It's
not the
like
big
this.
banks.
It's a
They're,
big
they're
club.
the they're the tool. I don't think that they're the the planner.
It's a big club, and we're not in it. George Carlin said that, I believe, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Now going back a little bit, I said that I kind of got the stacking fever at about $17, and I realized that I got an order from SD Bullion, and I had maybe 21 ounce coins. I was just holding them, and I was just dropping them in my hand, and the feel and just the sound of them dropping on each other, and I went for like 10 minutes. And my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I'm just messing with the silver here." She says, "Are you okay?" Have you had any experiences like that?
Oh yeah, family. They'll think you're ill.
Right.
If you take rather than going and buying a new pair of Nikes or something, putting that money into a precious metal, they'll think there's something wrong with you. I only find about 1 out of 100 people really even cares what I'm talking about. And these are all people that have, they have a lot of dollar bills, right? But they don't see it coming. They're just happy their 401k went up 8%, and they don't realize that that's not going to buy them much when they retire.
Okay. And that's kind of what I was getting at earlier. The community or people that realize that silver can be valuable, of course it is, but people that actually realize it, it's very small. And you're thinking maybe 1 or 2% of the population if you had to estimate that.
Yeah, I think I've heard Kitco or somewhere say that, and all it would take. Of course, silver is in short supply, but as Wall Street Silver and others wake up the world, um, that 2%, if that goes to 3%, that's it. That's the silver is gone. If it goes to
Absolutely.
4%,
Wow.
then I mean, the dynamic is changing. What's really encouraging is seeing younger people getting into I'll call it a hobby. I don't know if that's what it is, but they're figuring out that there's a rat. At least the smart ones are. There's a rat somewhere, and they're coming straight for them. Because especially if you're, just starting out in life, there is no way you're going to be able to duplicate your parents' success
Right.
as the price of everything skyrockets. And then Washington gives you, $1 raise or a $2 raise, or allows more people to go on, Medicaid or
Hmm.
welfare.
Yeah.
Um, this is the elimination of the middle class. So the rich people will always be okay. They'll always have property. They'll have their share.
Right.
But this is not good for America. What's happening right now? It's $1,400. I heard the other day someone said that the stimulus that's being planned or has been planned up till now costs something like $40,000 per citizen.
Right.
So they spend $40,000 and you get your 1,400, and everything doubles in price. How does that sound?
Exactly. And then they're going to come after the your paycheck even more later down the road. And like you said, there are a lot of people just getting out of college. These young kids have college debt, so many of them, and the jobs are not there to even begin paying off the debt. It seems like it's just an endless cycle, an endless wheel.
Yeah, yeah. And I know there are some opportunities for real hustlers, whether that's Bitcoin or something else, but the vast majority will just kind of have to suffer through the new paradigm. And I think one thing that makes sense is if you can stay in school, get your degrees, so that you have a better chance of not being among the have-nots. At least you will have, an opportunity to move up in what will be a totally segregated economy of haves and have-nots.
Yeah. Yeah. And the really scary part is getting into a lot of debt, college debt, and not being able to find a job that's going to even pay off or begin to pay off those payments, plus be able to buy whatever else you need, a house and everything that goes along with life. Pretty scary times.
Yeah, it sure is. I feel bad for the future. But what can you do? If we can wake up enough people to sound money, and you can start putting a little bit away, I guarantee it grows. Jason, I'm sure you know that you bought those first 20 rounds or coins, but I bet there's more than 20 now, and I bet you don't really miss the money.
No, I definitely don't. My regret is that I didn't put more paper into silver, when it was 17 range.
Yeah, yeah. We have a pretty good opportunity here at 25, but I do think it will resume back up when the dollar resumes its fall, because I think those two things are correlated,
Mm-hmm.
inversely correlated. But 25 is not a bad price. It really wasn't. Before the crisis, silver was trying to push back to 20, and like we said, it spent a little time down at 12 and then pushed back up to 30. But it's the premiums you have to watch out for. So you buy all you want, but try not to buy too much with a huge premium. Try not to buy those $40 Eagles. People say there's no silver, but if you're not real picky, you can find stuff with, at least under a $3 or a $4 premium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been scaling back a little bit on my purchases, still getting some as often as I can, just not as big purchases. And if it drops back down, I try to go a little more heavy handed. So I'm with you there. Now, there's so much more we could talk about, including music.
It's hard to not just keep going.
Exactly.
But it's been a real pleasure, and a pleasure knowing you and watching your channel grow over the years. So you keep up the good work, and thanks for getting the word out on silver.
You as well. I'll be tuning in. Let me go ahead and hit stop here, and then I want to chat real quick, okay?
Gotcha.